If you're a man over 50 and you're still training to failure on every set, thinking that's how you should build muscle, stop. Not only are you not going to build muscle, but you're doing more harm than good. I've been coaching men for over 30 years, men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, even into their 80s. I've trained thousands of older men, guys who were busy, stressed, and trying to juggle family, work, and workouts. And let me be blunt, training to failure is one of the fastest ways to stall your progress and jack up your body. Now, with that said, there are always going to be outliers. Guys like me who've been training for 35 years can sometimes get away with pushing it a little further. But the vast majority of men don't have that training history, and their bodies simply can't recover from all-out failure training. That's why I coach men based on what works for the vast majority, not just the genetically gifted few. And after 3 decades of feedback, thousands of clients, and my own battles with joint pain, tendonitis, and recovery, you better believe I've refined what actually works for most men. So in this video, I'm gonna show you why training to failure is not the growth strategy you think it is after 50. Also, the physiological truth about how your body responds to failure training. Also, I'm gonna give you a smarter system you can use to build real lasting muscle without joint pain or burnout. And stick with me into the end because I'm gonna give you a big pro tip. I'm gonna share one programming shift you can make today to reduce the wear and tear on your joints. You can recover faster and get more out of every single set. This is something I use with every man in my coaching programs, and it works every time. All right, let's start here. What is training to failure? Training to failure means performing reps up until you physically cannot do another one with good form. Now, in your 20s, that can work. You've got higher testosterone, faster recovery, and your joints haven't absorbed decades of wear and tear. But after 50, it's a totally different story. Now, training to failure became popular in the bodybuilding world because, yes, when you reach muscular failure, you do recruit more motor units. But what gets left out is the context. Those guys were often in their 20s and 30s. They were also chemically enhanced, and they had 8 hours a day to eat, train, and recover. That's not the life of a typical 50-year-old man. Most men over 50 have full-time careers, families, and a fraction of the recovery capacity they had 20 years ago. Here's what's really going on inside your body now. Tendons recover slower than muscle fibers. You can feel strong, but your connective tissue is still inflamed. Also, your testosterone is much lower, which means less anabolic support for recovery. And your nervous system fatigues faster, so failure training causes central nervous system burnout, not just muscle fatigue. And cortisol spikes with high-intensity volume as well, especially in men with high stress, poor sleep, and insulin resistance. And guess where most men over 50 land? Right in that danger zone with all of those. You might feel like you're working hard, but what you're doing is digging a hole you're not going to be able to recover from. Now, there was a study published in 2016 showing that muscle growth is similar whether you train to complete failure or if you stop 1 to 2 reps in reserve, as long as volume and intensity are matched. Now, that means the so-called magic of going to failure is totally overstated. You can get just as much muscle growth without beating your body up and beating it into the ground. Now, here's what I've seen over and over again, though, across thousands of men. The guys who chose failure on every set, they burn out, they get injured, and they stop training altogether. Now, the guys who stop 1 to 2 reps shy of failure, they stay consistent. They recover better, and they actually build more muscle over time. I've had a 60-year-old man go from chronic joint pain to pain-free lifting just by backing off 5 to 10%. That's the difference between training hard and training smart. Now, I'm not saying you should never train to failure, but you have to use it wisely. Failure makes sense for isolation lifts like curls, pushdowns, and even lateral raises. Machine-based movements also, where the path is fixed and your joints are more supported. And occasionally, intensity techniques like drop sets and supersets. Failure works very well with those, but you should never train to failure on barbell squats, deadlifts, or overhead presses. When your form breaks down on those, your joints, not your muscles, absorb the load. And that's a fast track to injury. Now, here's what you need to do instead. Use RIR, reps in reserve. Stop 1 to 2 reps short of failure on 80 to 90% of your sets. Prioritize form and tempo, slow eccentrics, controlled pauses, explosive but smooth concentrics. Increase weekly volume as well, not just the load. And then recover smarter, quality sleep, hydration, stress management, and plenty of protein. Listen to your own biofeedback as well. How are your weekly energy levels? How is your motivation? Are you gaining strength consistently or losing strength? These are all indicators to pay attention to. Now, this is the real formula. Not ego lifting, not beating yourself into the ground, just intentional training that builds you up instead of tearing you down. All right, now for the pro tip I promised earlier, here's the adjustment I want you to use in your next set. You'll see what I'm talking about. Pause at the bottom of every single rep. Hold for 2 full seconds, then explode up under control. Now that pause kills momentum, increases time under tension, and forces more muscle fiber recruitment, all without needing to go to failure. It's safer, it's smarter, and your joints are gonna thank you for doing that. And for those of you ready for the next level, I just finished my brand new 16-week Alpha Male program. It's a complete done-for-you plan designed specifically for men over 50 to maximize muscle, strength, and energy, the workouts, nutrition, everything. Now, it's not open yet, but I'm creating an early access priority list. If you want to be first in line when it drops, click the Alpha Male link below this video, add your name and email, and I'll get you on my priority access list before anyone else. If you take action and get on the early access list, I've also got an exclusive bonus waiting for you just as a thank you for being one of the first to step up. So click the link below, get on the Alpha Male priority list, and let's get to work. Get busy, get after it, and God bless.